Welcome to The Spotlight, the podcast where veterans and military spouses connect and share how their military experience has transformed their lives and their businesses. Here's your host, Bob Louthen.
Hey, this is your host, Bob Louthen, founder of the VeteranCrowd Network, the network that brings veterans and veteran-led businesses together with each other and the resources they need to prosper. And you are tuning into The Spotlight. Hey, welcome everyone. This is Bob Louthen. Welcome to The Spotlight. My guest today from Tampa, Florida, an Air Force veteran. Jay Jackson is the founder and CEO of the Galaxy Group, an investment platform that he has created. He's also the CEO and founder of Serve, Impact, and Prosper, which is a professional training and coaching organization. Jay and I met through LinkedIn. Jay, thanks for stepping into the spotlight. I'm really interested to hear your story today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor, and I'm grateful to be a part of your platform today.
Let's go back in time and how did you wind up serving in the Air Force? Let's start back there.
Honestly, it was the best decision I ever made, to be honest with you. I come from a family of military folks. My uncle, my stepfather, two aunts, and my godmother. They were all military veterans, or they are all military veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time in my life, I had to make a decision because, I was still a knucklehead trying to do some college, but still trying to, hold on to my past or the life that I was living at that time. And so joining the Air Force was the best decision that I ever made because it gave me the opportunity to, learn leadership, teamwork, discipline, everything that we gain while in the military. And I tell people, if you have the opportunity to join because your life will never be the same afterwards, and you won't be the same person once you join.
How old were you when you went in the Air Force?
I was 19.
19, and the recruiter didn't sell you a bag of goods either, right? He gave
I wouldn't say that the recruiter didn't sell me a bag of goods, but I'm grateful that I was sold on joining the Air Force.
What did you do when you got into the Air Force? I know you kind of changed and shifted as time went by, but
yes, sir.
First job.
My first job, I was in security forces, 3PO. I did that for 6 years, and then at the end of that enlistment, the Air Force was doing some, force shaping. And that's literally how I'm no longer in the Air Force anymore, but they did some force shaping, and my career field security forces had an overage, and they basically gave some of us the opportunity to retrain. And so I took the opportunity to retrain into air traffic control. And so I retrained in air traffic control. I loved everything about that. I did that for 9 years. If it were up to me, I would still be in the uniform because it was my goal to do 30 years. But hey, again, life happens, and sometimes we just have to make some adjustments to our plans.
Before we go into life happening, you mentioned family. Were other members in the Air Force, or were they in other branches of the service?
No, sir. So I'm the first in the Air Force. I actually originally went into the Navy's depth. And my godmother, that love her, when she found out that I was in the Navy's depth, she completely lost it. She told me that I'm not going into the Navy. I actually signed up to be a bosun's mate.
Mm-hmm.
And then because she was in the Navy and she understood exactly what that job entailed. And I used to get car sick as a kid. And so she was like, no, you're not going into the Navy. You won't make it. She literally called the recruiter and said, nope, he's not going into the Navy. And they passed me over to the Air Force. And that's literally how I ended up in the Air Force.
Well, good call by your godmother there. I tell you what, if you get seasick, you would have not been a happy camper in the Navy. That is for sure. So now you get out of the Air Force. Tell us a little bit about your transition. I mean, becoming a serial entrepreneur, which is what you seem to be a little bit of. It's not this glorious path. It's a little bit of a struggle, is it not?
Absolutely. The transition is a struggle, but then also growing businesses is a struggle. The transition for me was extra difficult simply because, as I said, it was unexpected. When
they didn't give you a lot of warning, did they?
No, sir. I had about 9 months to
Uh-huh.
prepare and figure it out. And so, of course, there were some services available to us to help with the transition as best that they could.
We could
Um,
talk about the TAP program all day long. I don't know what they call it in the Air Force, but
yeah, we won't go down that route.
one of my guests I've had before has written a book about, military transition. Several of my guests have talked about military transition. Everybody's going to transition someday, right? Everybody should be getting ready for it. But when the military does what they did to you, it can be extra painful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, they have to do what they feel is in the best interest of the Air Force and what they felt was in the best interest of the DoD in our country.
Yeah.
At that time, I didn't understand it that way and didn't like it. But you reflect back on it and you finally reach a place of understanding and peace with it.
What'd you do when you got out? How did this path start? And then let's talk about the Galaxy Group and also serve, because I like your videos, your coaching videos. You got some real life lessons.
Thank you, thank you. So I had always been the entrepreneur. I always had the entrepreneurial spirit, even while in the uniform. I had a food trailer. I had a lawn care business while in uniform. So when I transitioned out, going into entrepreneurship, just it was a no-brainer for me. Primarily because I didn't want to give anybody that much control and power over my life ever again. So I wanted to create my own mission, my own vision, my own values, and that's where it all started and began. It started with my consulting agency, which is Serve, Impact, and Prosper, where we help coaches and consultants scale their businesses without the complicated ads and funnels. And then as time went along, investing in some different, mentors and coaches and consultants myself, I got introduced to the idea of, buying businesses, and that completely blew my mind because I didn't even know that that was, an option. And so I got into, mergers and acquisitions a few years ago. That's where my company, the Galaxy Group, comes into play. And since then, we've been able to acquire 3 different companies over the last 26 months.
Hmm.
We're excited about what we've got going on in the future.
Tell me about the 3 companies you've acquired. High level, what do they do, and where are they located?
Gotcha. So it's all are in the health and wellness space. So we've got a Rejuvenation clinic out in Sarasota, Florida. We've got a chiropractic clinic out in Moab, Utah. And then we have a chiropractic clinic out in Orange County, California.
So you're nationwide. How do you manage the businesses in California and Utah from Tampa? I can see Sarasota. You can drive down there and check on things, but a little bit of different, a little bit of a hike to Utah and California.
Yeah, well, the team, that's at the end of the day, the team does their job. They do what they need to do. We make sure that they have the, resources and the training that they need to be successful. We do, a lot of Zoom meetings, but, we also physically go out and visit the sites as well. But the team, that's at the end of the day, none of it's possible without a good team behind you.
Now, I understand chiropractic. What does the Rejuvenation Center really do?
Um, like cryotherapy.
Oh,
So it's a higher level of physical therapy, right? So
you get a
you
lot of athletes?
yeah, athletes primarily. A lot of, let's say, some senior citizens who might be going through hip replacement or knee replacement and things.
Mhm. Interesting area. Okay. And then serve, impact, and prosper. Tell us about the professional training and coaching and how you got that calling.
It for my own personal pain. So when I transitioned out, I knew I was, educated, had the training, had experience that I could deliver value to the marketplace, but I didn't understand marketing and sales. And so the more I tried to learn marketing and sales, I started to realize that I wasn't alone. And so for me, it gave me the opportunity to one, be able to, serve people. It allowed me to tap back into a lot of what I was accustomed to doing while in the military, which is to create, like I said, I wanted to create my own mission. That mission started out relatively small, but to some folks, it might still be large. But it started out as 1 million people. And the more I would communicate with people, I got challenged, and someone said 1 million is too small. And so I took it to 5 million, and someone told me that was too small. And one day I was just kind of sitting around praying and meditating. I said, okay, God, if 5 million is too small, I need a number that no one can ever challenge again. And that's where the 1 billion number came into play. I'm not 100% sure if we'll get to it in this lifetime for me, but we're definitely putting the infrastructure in place to hopefully be able to sustain it after my time expires here.
So to reach 1 billion people, what tools are you using? And you're doing a lot of videos and so forth, but what's sort of the strategy? How do you reach 1 billion people? You got to do it outside the United States.
Absolutely. And that's the part that keeps unfolding, to be quite honest with you. So I've written a couple of books myself. We do some webinars every week, different podcasts similar to, what we're doing right now. I'm a veteran crowdsourced podcast.
Uh-huh.
And so it's just, I have plans to one day start a television show. And so there's just different mediums that we're using primarily, through the media is how we're going to be able to reach that many people. So speaking engagements, things of that nature.
Honor, duty, service. At the Veteran Crowd Network, we're focused on our next mission, bringing veterans, veteran-operated businesses, and veteran service organizations together with each other and the resources they need to prosper. That's why we are launching the Veteran Crowd Rewards Program, exclusively for our individual and corporate members. Now you can save on travel, restaurants, goods, and services from brands you trust online and at over 900,000 locations nationwide. Find out more today at VeteranCrowdNetwork.com. If you are a veteran-operated business, or a VSO, consider the connections, the network, the benefits, the engagement, and success of working with other veterans again. The Veteran Crowd Network, you paid a lot of dues to join this club.
Our guest is Jay Jackson. He is the founder of the Galaxy Group and Serve, Impact, and Prosper. Jay, man, you got the look for TV. I got to tell you, I've got the face for podcasting. But the little short videos that you're doing, can you share maybe one or two little insights that that you've reduced to video, the kind of stuff that people would see when they reached out and found you through LinkedIn or through your web presence?
Just speak from your heart, to be quite honest with you. Focus on delivering value to people. And if you focus on delivering value to people, everything else will take care of itself. If you're speaking from a place of, your own insights and from personal experience and expertise, obviously we all deal with some form of, imposter syndrome when we first start a new project because we're trying to figure out whether or not we are good enough to do it. But the more you just do it and the repetitions, as with anything else in life, whether it's riding a bike, tying your shoes, or driving a car, eventually you'll build up enough muscle memory and you'll callous your mind, and eventually you'll become better at it.
Yeah, you make me laugh. I think about the first podcast I did, and when I started this, and it was terrible. But the good news was nobody was listening. So went through this process of creating this medium and learning how to do it. And your advice is spot on. Just do it, figure out how to do it, and you'll get better at it. Don't hesitate. Don't lose it. That's a great coaching point. Tell me about the books that you've written. I see one on the shelf back behind you, but talk about the books that you write. And I'm always curious about when a person kind of made the decision to write a book. What motivated them to do that? How did you find the inner author in you?
So my first book, which is the Transformation Experience, Shifting Paradigms for Success, that one came, I think, about 2 years after I had gotten out of the Air Force. That one came from a place of literally just, I needed to get a lot of my own emotions, out of me, so to speak, because I was still holding on to a lot of the anger and frustration around my transition out. And so I needed to just share my story. I went back and we revised that edition at least once. Only because my perspective on my transition has shifted and changed since then. But it came from a place where positioning yourself as an authority or as an expert. One of the coaches that I had invested in recommended that I write a book. And so that's where my first book came from. My second book came from where a couple of friends were basically, I guess you can say it was back to one of those military nights where we were sitting around drinking, all talking trash to each other. And I got challenged and was told that, yeah, you've written one, but I bet you can't do it again. And so that's where the second, book came from. And it primarily comes from a place where I was challenging one of my friends, basically saying to him, stop making excuses. And so that the second book is called Open Mic, Cut the Big, and I won't, I know how your guests feel about it, but cut the BS and get going.
Yep.
And so it's basically to let people know that stop making excuses. There's absolutely no reason why anyone shouldn't pursue their goals or their dreams. We all have genius level talent within us. We just have to figure out how we can tap into it. And back to what we were talking about before, just nurture it and work it and work it and work it, and you'll blossom and you'll step into the spotlight.
Did you write these books yourselves? Did you get somebody to help you with it? I mean, there's folks out there that can help you ghostwrite the story, which is, I've actually looked into that myself, but did you write it all yourself? Did you get some help? Who coached you through the writing of the book, to kind of help you get it right?
No, I wrote both of them myself. So the process that I took for my first book, I literally just sat down at my kitchen table. I wrote it, sent it over to have it edited, and it came back. And then the second book, what I did was I spoke it. So I basically spoke it as an audio book and then had it transcribed into the written format.
That's interesting. A lot of times I think you should write it the way you would say it, right? And that's a great way to kind of get it out on the table, get it down, and then you can go back and refine it just a little bit. So let me shift gears on you just a little bit. How do you think having served in the military has helped make you a better entrepreneur? What are some of the lessons there?
Great question. And I love that question simply because I tell veterans quite often you have everything that you need to be successful as an entrepreneur because of your experience in the military. Leadership, teamwork, systems, processes, it's the foundation of anything successful, whether you are a small mom and pop up till the military. What's required to be successful, the military gives us everything that we need. It's just whether or not we're going to harness that and practically apply that in our new, life, I guess you could say. Like I said, I wouldn't be the man who I am today without my time in the military. And so that's anytime a young person, asks me whether or not they should join, absolutely. I don't, I give it to them straight. I don't sugarcoat anything, and I tell them, hey, it's not for everyone. However, if you do decide to join the military, go into it with this perspective and make sure that you have an ultimate goal and objective and plan for yourself. But then once you transition out, take everything that the military has given you and then practically apply it to your next phase of life. Simply because, 99% of the people in the US don't get that experience while in the military. So that in itself is a differentiator and you automatically stand out in the marketplace. I've had several people, ask me questions about, why do you think this way? Or why do you behave that way? Or you're so professional. And I'm thinking it is all because of the military. I wouldn't be who I am without that experience. So that's
we could talk about this topic all day long. I mean, veterans represent, a certain slice of our population, but we're overrepresented as entrepreneurs. We're overrepresented as business owners. We're overrepresented as leaders of companies. And it's because of all of that stuff you got, the disciplines. I think an important thing is a heightened sense of ethics and personal accountability, which is an aspect that just is missing. I mean, when you're doing your coaching, I mean, can we actually coach a non-veteran and give them some of those things that kind of got hardwired into us in boot camp and beyond?
If we have the time to be able to sustain the efforts in the training, we can. No different than us, right? It took some of us
Got to go through the crucible, though. It takes fire to make steel, right?
Absolutely. I think, some of us go into the military with certain characteristics that we gain from our upbringing. And so the military process is a lot easier because you have certain values before you even join. And then some of us, it takes some time for us to fully, acclimate ourselves to the military lifestyle. And I just think if a person wants it, if you want to, gain the military bearing, if you want to gain the integrity, the service, if you want to, gain that deeper commitment to being a part of something greater than yourself, you'll be willing to put in the work and it will happen.
Jay, have you got another book inside of you that's screaming to get out yet?
I do.
Okay. Can you tease me with that?
I can't because it hasn't come to me yet. But we do. The plan is to write several books in my lifetime. And when we have the opportunity to sit down and do it, we will definitely do it.
Interesting. What does the next 12 to 18 months hold for you? What's kind of on the agenda? What are the big goals and aspirations for the two companies?
Gotcha. So with Serve, Impact, and Prosper, our primary focus this year is community. We are looking to build community primarily here in the Tampa area because we're going to be operating locally, but thinking, globally.
Big veteran community in Tampa too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
very concentrated.
Yeah. And then with the Galaxy Group, our goal is to acquire $20 million in revenue, whether that be through one company or across multiple companies. We've got a couple of businesses right now in our deal flow is what we call it, in our pipeline right now that we're evaluating. We're in due diligence with two companies right now. So yeah, that's our goal is to have $20 million in revenue underneath the Galaxy Group this year.
How do people get in touch with you?
The best place is LinkedIn, to be quite honest with you. You can go to, and it's just Jay Jackson, JayJackson. You can follow or send me a connection request on the LinkedIn platform. I do have other socials, but I don't spend a lot of time on those other platforms.
Okay, well, we're going to put links to all of those things for that you can reach out to Jay Jackson and put them on the show notes for this episode. Jay, can we also put links to your books, Open Mic and the Transformation?
Yes, sir.
Put those out there as well. Any last minute thoughts for the folks out there, the veterans that are listening in today?
Whatever it is that you're thinking about doing and it's scary right now, do it, lean into it a lot more starting right now. Don't hesitate. The time will never be right. You'll never have enough money. You'll never have enough support. But as you continue to move forward, the support and the resources will present themselves. Whether that be financial resources or even relationships. When I transitioned out, I didn't know anyone as a civilian, who could support me in that transition. And so I was lost, scared, and confused. And so I know if someone like myself can eventually figure it out, I believe anyone can figure it out.
Well, you've got an inspirational story. Jay Jackson, thank you for stepping into the spotlight today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for having me on. It's been an honor.
You've been listening to the Spotlight on the VeteranCrowd Network. My guest has been Jay Jackson, the founder of the Galaxy Group and Serve, Impact, and Prosper. Jay's an Air Force veteran in Tampa, Florida. I encourage everybody to reach out to Jay, follow him on LinkedIn, and learn a little bit more about what he's doing and maybe consider one of his two books that are out there. Jay, thank you for stepping into the spotlight. I'll give you an Army Bravo Zulu for your performance today, folks, and that's a wrap.
Thank you for listening to Spotlight by VeteranCrowd. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and uploads, please visit our website at VeteranCrowdNetwork.com. We'll see you next time.